In today's program, we are going to talk about a film called Pride and its important themes: the British miners' strike in 1984 and their relationship with the Gays and Lesbians Movement, who joined forces to support the miners with their group LGSM, Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners.
Pride is a 2014 British LGBT-related historical comedy drama film, written by Stephen Beresford and directed by Matthew Warchus. Based on a true story, the film represents a group of lesbian and gay activists who raised money to help families affected by the British miners' strike in 1984, who created the Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners campaign. The National Union of Mine Workers didn't want to accept the group's support due to the union's public relations worries about being openly associated with a gay group. So the activists instead decided to take their donations directly to Unwin, a small mining village in Wales, resulting in an alliance between the two communities. The alliance was unlike any seen before and was ultimately successful.
The miners' strike of 1984 was an industrial action affecting the British coal industry. The strike of the miners was led by Arthur Scourgill. The BBC has referred to the strike as the most bitter industrial dispute in British history. It involved 142,000 mine workers, making it the biggest since 1926. The industry of the UK was inspired to prepare itself toward reduced subsidies in the 1980s. After a strike produced in the 1981, more people joined into the strike. It began on the 19th of November in 1984, and more than 73% of miners joined their forces to win, standing out the south of Wales, where 99% of workers joined the strike.
The strike ended on 3 March 1985 following an NUM vote to return to work. It was a defining moment in British industrial relations, and the union's defeat significantly weakened the British trade union movement. It was a political victory for Margaret Thatcher and the Conservative Party. The strike became a symbolic struggle as the NUM, one of the strongest unions in the country, was viewed by many, including the Conservatives in power. 3 deaths resulted from events around the strike: 2 pickets and a taxi driver taking a non-striking money to work. The strike was ruled illegal in September 1984, as no national ballot was held. After the strike, the most reduced coal industry was privatized in December 1994. Ultimately becoming UK coal.
The reason of this miners' strike was related to Margaret Thatcher, who was the prime minister of the United Kingdom. She was against the labor movement and the trade union. She had political philosophy and economic policies like flexible labor markets, the privatization of the state-owned companies, and reducing the power and influence of the trade unions. Nevertheless, the miners weren't alone in this claim. LGBTQ support them. The initials LGBTQ means lesbian, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, and queer social movements. These social movements fight for equality, said acceptance of LGBT people in society. In these movements, LGBTQ people have a long history of campaigning for what is now generally called LGBTQ rights, also called gay rights or gay and lesbian rights. Numerous LGBT rights organizations are active around the world. The earliest organizations formed in support of LGBT rights was in 1924. The LGBT history is the relative history of the lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgenders. During a long time, this history has been ignored until the 70s.
From the labor movement and the gay movement appeared a supergroup of gays and lesbians who wanted to help the minors. Lesbians and Gays Support the Minors, LGSM, was an alliance of lesbians and gays who formed in support of the described British miners during the year-long UK miners' strike of 1984-1985. By the end of the strike, there were 11 groups throughout the UK. During the strike, the Thatcher administration stole the money of the National Unit of Miner Workers, NUM, meaning that it was pointless for supporters of the strike to send donations to this national union. Instead, support groups in the UK were encouraged to tune directly with the various mining communities in England, Scotland, and Wales. Among these organizations, the LGSM was formed by Mark Ashton and his friend Michael Jackson after the two men collected donations for the miners at the 1984 Lesbian and Gay Pride March in London. After this support group collected some money, in a decade when a degree of homophobia was the norm, LGSM drove a couple of minibuses from Hackney Community Transport and Cape Out BBB camper van to Black mining town in South Wales to present their donations, uncertain what sort of welcome to expect. At first, it was difficult for the workers to accept their help because of the sexual condition. However, they finally joined and fought for their rights and better working conditions.
In Xulas Tv, all of our debaters want to discuss the topics represented in the film Pride. This is Xulas Group: Marta, Judith, Marina, and Aroa. First, let's start with a brief review of this terrific film. A newspaper called El País said that it has an ambitious thematic and a schematic development. It finds the excitement when it looks for a look of complicity and the truth of its characters, and the resentment when it escapes from the problems with jokes that are searching for the easier love, like life. I totally agree with this review. So, what's your opinion about this film? Do you agree with that?
Yes, I think the film is interesting because you learn about the things that happened in the past, and you learn also the both movements. Also, I think that the songs that sound at the film makes you feel more inside at the film, and they get significant about it. So I think yes. And you, Marina, what do you think about it?
In my opinion, Pride is such an interesting film because it handles and observing themes. It's like the union makes the street. Lesbian, gays, and minors comfort Margaret Tracer in the strike of 1984. This film, in spite of having funny moments, it's a little bit boring because I consider that it has a plain development. There's not a change.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in my opinion, Pride is a very interesting film and it gets solid in every moment of it. And I also think the film knows how to transmit the optimism of the LGBT community. I think that it creates a drama while you are watching it because any of the characters get more protagonism than the others, and that's like a new sensation to the viewer of cooperation. And I consider that cooperation is a key aspect of the film.
Yeah, you're right.
And you, Marta?
I think that the end of the film is very obvious because all the time the actors are talking about the same argument. On the other hand, the story is real and this is one point in favor.
Yeah, that's good. I think.
Now, let's focus on the British miners' strike in 1984 and its reasons. The Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, wanted to privatize the state-owned companies, like education and social health. Besides that she wanted to eliminate the trade unions. Her political and economic philosophy was really damaging to workers.
I know, this strike will not solve anything.
Why?
It isn't a solution. It's the most powerful instrument to pressure that we have. Nowadays, the workers have at our disposal to enforce our rights against and unjustified or aggression. For this reason, who doesn't participate in the strike damage all the rest. That is what I think the best way for reivindicating that they were against or the prevention that Margaret Thatcher did was pushing through that hack straight.
Yeah. In many occasions, some of the miners said the quote, without Thatcher, our lives were better. And this refers to the way that Thatcher did things in Britain and the way she saw the gay community. Because the LGSM community, as many other groups, rise up against the leadership of Thatcher.
Yeah, and they also rise up against the block and privatization of social classes.
Yeah, that's right.
What about you, Marta?
I think the same as you. In my opinion, I think that the miners don't have a reason why do so much disturb. A lot of people have been involved in the LGSM strike, but Margaret Thatcher was against it. She was a British state woman who wanted to privatize the infrastructure public of the state.
Yeah.
I think that she's a bad person.
Okay, so apart from the labor movement, we can see the gay movement, which was really important to this recognition. Lesbians and Gays decided to help the miners, and they created Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners. However, at the beginning, nobody wanted their support and they weren't accepted. I think that all unions
Make first.
despite your sexual condition. Why the miners didn't accept them at first?
And why lesbians and gays want to help them?
At the beginning, most of the participants of the strike didn't accept the help of the gay people, so the coexistence was difficult, and some of them have to erase their way of thinking because it was like a little bit hateful. They thought that gay people were bad and unnatural. So this new change of the way of thinking of the people made the LGBT community to cooperate together.
Yeah, you're right. The miners didn't accept at first because in the 80s, gays and lesbians were considered an unnatural and disgusting thing.
Yeah.
They were like no persons, they were like things, and the people doesn't accept them. The miners didn't see them as a good help because they were different at this society.
However, lesbians and gays wanted to help them because they thought that in some kind of way they were similar and they had lived similar things. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I thought.
I know. Do you remember that I said at the beginning that the songs are very important in this film?
Yeah. Workers who had a life with really bad conditions didn't have the opportunity to enjoy and have fun due to their job. They were all day working, and women, apart from their badly paid job, have to look after their children.
Do the housework
And serve their husbands.
Yeah, as we can see, women didn't have time for themselves, and they only fought for their working rights.
Yeah.
But where was their free time, their right to feel loved and delightful woman?
But don't you think that it's more important to have bread, food or things that are most important than love? Think about it. Obviously, love is important in our life and we need it to have someone that loves us. But I think that there are more important things at this life, like there are necessary. Yeah.
Yes, it's important, but without love, anything else have meaning. Don't you think that? Imagine a world without it. There will be so many wars and problems, and we also have them with love.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, in a scene of the film appeared a really emotional song, Bread and Roses, which is about this topic. Women want food to survive, obviously, but they also want to have fun and to be loved. So, this Xulas TV program is over. See you
Next week!